should you acquaint yourself with the indignities heaped upon the prophets of God, and apprehend the true causes of the objections voiced by their oppressors, you will surely appreciate the significance of their position. Moreover, the more closely you observe the denials of those who have opposed the manifestations of the divine attributes, the firmer will be your faith in the cause of God. Accordingly, a brief mention will be made in this tablet of diverse accounts relative to the prophets of God, that they may demonstrate the truth that throughout all ages and centuries the manifestations of power and glory have been subjected to such heinous cruelties that no pen dare describe them. Perchance this may enable a few to cease to be perturbed by the clamour and protestations of the divines and the foolish of this age, and cause them to strengthen their confidence and certainty. Among the prophets was Noah. For 950 years he prayerfully exhorted his people and summoned them to the haven of security and peace. None, however, heeded his call. Each day they inflicted on his blessed person such pain and suffering that no one believed he could survive. How frequently they denied him, how malevolently they hinted their suspicion against him. Thus it hath been revealed, and as often as a company of his people passed by him, they derided him. To them he said, Though ye scoff at us now, we will scoff at you hereafter, even as ye scoff at us. In the end ye shall know. Long afterward, he several times promised victory to his companions, and fixed the hour thereof. But when the hour struck, the divine promise was not fulfilled. This caused a few among the small number of his followers to turn away from him, and to this testify the records of the best-known books. These you must certainly have perused. If not, undoubtedly you will. Finally, as stated in books and traditions, there remained with him only 40 or 72 of his followers. At last, from the depth of his being, he cried aloud, Lord, leave not upon the land a single dweller from among the unbelievers. And now consider and reflect a moment upon the waywardness of this people. What could have been the reason for such denial and avoidance on their part? What could have induced them to refuse to put off the garment of denial and to adorn themselves with the robe of acceptance? Moreover, what could have caused the non-fulfillment of the divine promise which led the seekers to reject that which they had accepted? Meditate profoundly, that the secret of things unseen may be revealed unto you, that you may inhale the sweetness of a spiritual and imperishable fragrance, and that you may acknowledge the truth that from time immemorial, even unto eternity, the Almighty hath tried, and will continue to try his servants, so that light may be distinguished from darkness, truth from falsehood, right from wrong, guidance from error, happiness from misery, and roses from thorns. Even as he hath revealed, do men think when they say, We believe, they shall be let alone and not be put to proof? And after Noah, the light of the countenance of Hud shone forth above the horizon of creation. For well nigh 700 years, according to the sayings of men, he exhorted the people to turn their faces and draw nearer unto the Rizvan of the divine presence. What showers of afflictions rained upon him, until at last his adjurations bore the fruit of increased rebelliousness, and his assiduous endeavours resulted in the wilful blindness of his people. And their unbelief shall only increase for the unbelievers their own perdition. And after him there appeared from the Rizvan of the Eternal, the Invisible, the holy person of Saleh, who again summoned the people to the river of everlasting life. For over 100 years he admonished them to hold fast unto the commandments of God, and eschew that which is forbidden. His admonitions, however, yielded no fruit, and his pleading proved of no avail. Several times he retired and lived in seclusion. All this, although that eternal beauty was summoning the people to no other than the city of God, even as it is revealed, And unto the tribe of Samud we sent their brother Saleh. O my people, he said, worship God. Ye have none other God beside him. They made reply, O Saleh, our hopes were fixed on thee until now. Forbiddest thou us to worship that which our fathers worshipped? Truly we misdoubt that whereunto thou callest us as suspicious. All this proved fruitless, until at last there went up a great cry, and all fell into utter perdition. Later the beauty of the countenance of the friend of God appeared from behind the veil, and another standard of divine guidance was hoisted. He invited the people of the earth to the light of righteousness. The more passionately he exhorted them, the fiercer waxed the envy and waywardness of the people, except those who wholly detached themselves from all save God, and ascended on the wings of certainty to the station which God hath exalted beyond the comprehension of men. It is well known what a host of enemies besieged him, until at last the fires of envy and rebellion were kindled against him. And after the episode of the fire came to pass, he, the lamp of God amongst men, was, as recorded in all books and chronicles, expelled from his city. And when his day was ended, there came the turn of Moses. Armed with the rod of celestial dominion, adorned with the white hand of divine knowledge, and proceeding from the Paran of the love of God, and wielding the serpent of power and everlasting majesty, he shone forth from the Sinai of light upon the world. He summoned all the peoples and kindreds of the earth to the kingdom of eternity, and invited them to partake of the fruit of the tree of faithfulness. Surely you are aware of the fierce opposition of Pharaoh and his people, and of the stones of idle fancy which the hands of infidels cast upon that blessed tree. So much so that Pharaoh and his people finally arose and exerted their utmost endeavor to extinguish with the waters of falsehood and denial the fire of that sacred tree, oblivious of the truth that no earthly water can quench the flame of divine wisdom, nor mortal blasts extinguish the lamp of everlasting dominion. Nay, rather, such water cannot but intensify the burning of the flame, and such blasts cannot but ensure the preservation of the lamp, were ye to observe with the eye of discernment, and walk in the way of God's holy will and pleasure. How well hath a believer of the kindred of Pharaoh, whose story is recounted by the All-Glorious in his book, revealed unto his beloved one, observed, And a man of the family of Pharaoh, who was a believer and concealed his faith, said, Will ye slay a man because he saith, My Lord is God, when he hath already come to you with signs from your Lord? If he be a liar, on him will be his lie. But if he be a man of truth, part of what he threateneth will fall upon you. In truth, God guideth not him who is a transgressor, a liar. Finally, so great was their iniquity that this selfsame believer was put to a shameful death. The curse of God be upon the people of tyranny. And now, ponder upon these things. What could have caused such contention and conflict? Why is it that the advent of every true manifestation of God hath been accompanied by such strife and tumult, by such tyranny and upheaval? This notwithstanding the fact that all the prophets of God, whenever made manifest unto the peoples of the world, have invariably foretold the coming of yet another prophet after them, and have established such signs as would herald the advent of the future dispensation. To this the records of all sacred books bear witness. Why then is it that despite the expectation of men in their quest of the manifestations of holiness, and in spite of the signs recorded in the sacred books, such acts of violence, of oppression and cruelty should have been perpetrated in every age and cycle against all the prophets and chosen ones of God, even as he hath revealed, As oft as an apostle cometh unto you with that which your souls desire not, ye swell with pride, accusing some of being impostors, and slaying others. Reflect, what could have been the motive for such deeds? What could have prompted such behaviour towards the revealers of the beauty of the All-Glorious? Whatever in days gone by hath been the cause of the denial and opposition of those people hath now led to the perversity of the people of this age. To maintain that the testimony of providence was incomplete, that it hath therefore been the cause of the denial of the people, is but open blasphemy. How far from the grace of the All-Bountiful, and from his loving providence and tender mercies it is to single out a soul from amongst all men for the guidance of his creatures, and, on one hand, to withhold from him the full measure of his divine testimony, and, on the other, inflict severe retribution on his people for having turned away from his chosen one. Nay, the manifold bounties of the Lord of all beings have, at all times, through the manifestations of his divine essence, encompassed the earth and all that dwell therein. Not for a moment hath his grace been withheld, nor have the showers of his loving kindness ceased to rain upon mankind. Consequently, such behaviour can be attributed to naught save the petty-mindedness of such souls as tread the valley of arrogance and pride, are lost in the wilds of remoteness, walk in the ways of their idle fancy, and follow the dictates of the leaders of their faith. Their chief concern is mere opposition. Their sole desire is to ignore the truth. Unto every discerning observer it is evident and manifest that had these people in the days of each of the manifestations of the Son of Truth sanctified their eyes, their ears, and their hearts from whatever they had seen, heard, and felt, they surely would not have been deprived of beholding the beauty of God, nor strayed far from the habitations of glory. But having weighed the testimony of God by the standard of their own knowledge, gleaned from the teachings of the leaders of their faith, and found it at variance with their limited understanding, they arose to perpetrate such unseemly acts.